Governor Sarah Palin has faced a slew of personal attacks by the far left since she was named as McCain's running mate. But now one writer from the Canadian Broadcasting Company, which is a taxpayer-funded venture in Canada, getting beyond vicious when it comes to Governor Palin. In her column, Heather Mallick calls the governor, calls her look, quote, a toned-down version of a porn actress. She calls the Palins, Sarah and Todd, studiously terrible at parenting. And she calls daughter Bristol a nasty name that we will not repeat here on this broadcast. She says McCain's vice presidential choice has sewn up the, quote, white trash vote for the Republican ticket. So, is it truly anything goes when it comes to analysis of this race? And is this analysis? Joining us now is David Warren, a columnist with the Ottawa Citizen. Good morning, David.
Good morning.
You know, you read this, obviously we believe in free speech in this country and they believe in free speech in Canada. So one can say anything they want. But is this what actually passes for political commentary at a publicly funded broadcasting company in Canada?
I think Heather Mallick is special in the sense that very few journalists up here are that lively. But on the other hand, I think what is significant about it is that the attitudes she's expressing are the ones that I'm familiar with from my fellow journalists when I'm out with them socially or even speaking away from the microphones and so forth. That kind of sarcasm, that kind of coarseness.
You think it's sarcasm? When she calls Palin supporters the white trash vote, do you think that's sarcasm, or do you think this woman actually believes that?
I'm sure she believes it. I think lots of people believe that.
They do?
I'm surprised at your surprise in some sense.
I'm surprised, David, because I think it's condescending and it's crude, and I don't want to believe, but I don't want to believe that those on the other side of this ticket, be they Canadian or American, need to make their argument in such vulgar terms or even think about this race in those vulgar terms.
No, I agree with that entirely. But nevertheless, one of the things that I've found almost refreshing, and I am speaking paradoxically here, is that we have had expressed openly things that otherwise people are only thinking. And once it is expressed openly, as we find on programs like this, we can shoot it down openly. What I find much more troubling about so much of the media coverage about Sarah Palin, up here as well as in the United States, is that we have the same attitudes being communicated under the face of journalistic objectivity, in which the whole thing is posed as if this were a serious analysis. I don't
understand. What I don't understand, David, you know, I see your point, which is she's saying that some things that the worst of the worst actually feel, which is, you know, if you disagree with their views, you're white trash or you're a hick, as she puts it in this article. But does it really advance the public dialogue for her to put pen to paper on a taxpayer-funded internet source and put this word out to the world? How does this advance the political dialogue?
I think it can only do so by drawing full attention to the fact that this is an element in the dialogue and that this is something that has to be condemned. Therefore, will the CBC do it, David? Will the CBC condemn it?
It's their website. Here she goes on there, calls Republican men sexual inadequates, says Sarah Palin, quote, isn't even really female, goes on to call everybody supporting Sarah Palin hillbillies, hicks, and white trash, and so on. What does the CBC do now? Do they cut off that column?
They haven't cut it off so far. In fact, it's been standing up for more than a week. I think one of the advantages of having the column standing there in the CBC is also to help Canadians see, and foreigners looking at Canada, to see just where the CBC is coming from, that they do not themselves feel tremendously alarmed by stuff like that.
Yeah, that's obviously a far-left organization itself, which is disturbing to the citizens of Canada who are not of that political view. But, wow, it was a shocking article. It seems like it was meant to shock. And, you know, quite frankly, it succeeded. David, thanks for coming on with your insights.
Thanks very much.
No.
Bye-bye.
Is that all?
Unbelievable, Bill. Yeah. She goes on and on and on. I won't even tell you what she said about Palin's daughter or her son, etc.